So here's a great practical application question. It's kind of funny. Read the question. It says the golfer duffs his first shot. That means he didn't hit it very well. Off the tee at a golf course. His second shot, well, yeah, that's kind of like me, is not much better. I don't know. If the second shot models the following function. So that's the second shot. And you're probably saying, well, wait a second, I've seen this before. Yeah, take a look at the podcast just before this, right? That I actually solved in that podcast. So that's going to save us a little bit of time in this podcast as we go through it. But if you look at this, it says X is the horizontal distance traveled in yards and H is the height of the ball. Now, what's really interesting here is look what's asked of you. It says, how far is the first shot from the tee box? And then how far from the tee box, how far is the second shot? And then I want you to compare the two shots. What do I mean by this? Well, think about it. Here's the guy at the tee box. That's his starting point. There's the beautiful grass there that he's going to hit and drive his ball onto. Okay, so the first shot is going to go up and it's going to go kabang. The second shot is going to go from here and it's going to go kabang again and it's going to land here. So you've got one shot here, and I'll just draw a little flag, and you got another shot over here. That's his second shot over here. And it says that this equation models the second shot. So this is the second shot right here. Maybe I should have chose red for that one. This models the second shot right there. There, now I can see it. So my question is, number one, it says how far is the first shot? Wait a second. If you got the equation for the second shot, how can you figure out the first shot? Easy. You start from here. Think about it. You start at this point to hit the ball to the second point over here. Okay, so all you need is that x-intercept, don't you? Okay, so that's your first x-intercept. Your second shot is going to end up here, which is the second x-intercept. You don't need this first arc at all. Think about it. If this was your wonderful coordinate axis, right there to right there, that's the parabola that you're dealing with. There's your starting point of your second, there's your end point of your second shot. Okay, so you can find from here to here, that's how far the first shot must have gone, because if you think about it, you start at 0, right? And then you can figure out how far the second shot from the tee box was. So how far are you away from the starting point, which is there? And then with just a little bit of subtraction, you can find out this distance, which is the distance of your second shot. See what I mean? Okay, let's just do this. You'll probably get it in a second here. So because I've already done the completing of the square of this thing in the previous podcast, I think you should stop this, go to the previous podcast and see how I did it. But with that being said, I'm just going to give you the answer from the previous podcast so that you can figure out. I've got it right here on this paper in front of me. I got x minus 36 squared minus 346. And we said because we're finding intersects here and here, we're going to let that equal to 0. Bring this all over to the other side. We've got x minus 36 squared equals to 346. Square root, and this is the only time that I'm actually going to use a decimal place. Most of the time I would not even go there, but this is the first time I'm actually going to use a decimal place. The decimal place is going to be about 18.6. Don't forget the plus or minus, because that's what's going to give you the 2 points on the parabola, right? The 2 intersect points. Now, here we go. Gives you 2 questions where you have x minus 36 equals to 18.6. You've got x minus 36 equals to minus 18.6. And go nuts. Here we go. Add the 36 right there. Add the 36. You end up with x equaling somewhere around 54.6 yards. Okay, which basically, yeah, if you got a pretty good arm, you can throw it further than this guy golfed. Oh, well. Okay, look at his second shot here. Look at this. Look at this. Add 36. Add 36. Check this out. Dun, da, da, da. X equals to 17.4 meters. So being that that's less, that's not a second shot. That's where the second shot started. Look, graph it again, and you'll see what I mean. Here's the starting point. Bada boom. Here's the parabola in question. Da 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 of his second shot, right? His first shot was this one, right? Okay, here's where he started. So think about it. That's intersect 17.4 meters. This is intersect 54.6, oh, not meters, sorry, yards. 54.6 yards. Now, look, his first shot must have been 17.4. His second shot is always from the start. It's from here. That is measured from the starting point. So his total shots, including the first and second, his total is 54.6. Now, my question then is how far is his actual second shot? Well, of course, just subtract 54.6, subtract 17.4, and you end up with 37.2 yards. So his second shot was a little bit better than his first, but not by much because it's only 37.4 yards. Well, I've heard this said to me about my golf game. Better quit golf, take up knitting.